Okay, this is a short little video on my phone, so I can try to show exactly what my setup is here. So this combo is an AX100, Sony's AX100, and I am using a Zoe DVXL by Bebob Engineering remote. This is a Land C remote, and the thing about this one is that's not made anymore. They're very hard to find. I have 3 of them. One of them I actually had to buy from Europe on eBay, but I like these a lot, which is why I have 3 of them. And but the VariZoom, different models that the VariZoom makes are probably as good, and they also would use the Land C, just like this one. This is, I guess, a 3.5 millimeter, and to use it on a Sony you would have to have this converter cable, which is about $15 to the old style Sony, and then this other $15 cable, which converts to the multi micro USB, which is what Sony uses for lots of things. And so just be careful if you're using it. Always unplug this in transit. Only use this when you're actually in the field. My son uses this in his tree stand, and he has it set up like this, but you always have to be very careful of this right here because it's easy to bend. And so this is the setup right here. So this particular remote control will zoom in, power zoom, in, out, one touch recording, one touch recording, one touch recording, and the focus works. You have to hit this button a couple times until it starts blinking, and then you can use manual focus if you want to, and then hit it again to turn it off. Now it's back to zoom in and out. So I'm not sure why it's not recording. Oh, I accidentally switched it back. Using the on-off button does not work. Now if this times out, then the on-off button might work, like on my Canon, but I haven't tried it on this one. But when you hit the on-off button, it actually switches between picture and video mode. And so now if I hit the record button, it records. So that's with this type of remote, which would be similar to the VariZoom with the 3.5 millimeter Land C. You'll need the 2 adapter cables. Okay, so now I have actually purchased this Sony R1 VPR1, and it comes with 2 different cables. You can use it on old style Sonys, like this connector, it comes with it, or you can use the multi-port cable, which is this one. So I'm going to unplug the multi-port, plug this one in, and while this one does not mount as firmly as this one does, it does have a clamp where you can clamp it on your remote handle. So let's go ahead and clamp it on here. And so if I had this one out of the way, of course it would. So now let's go ahead and turn the camera on, and now I can actually use this rocker switch to zoom in and zoom out. This one actually does have a power on off button, where I can turn it on and off with this button, and it has a start-stop switch, start-stop, and we have tried to get this to work with instant autofocus. Let me see if we can get a situation where it's not in focus and see if it works. So you press it halfway, and we must not have the settings right on this camera. We've tried this before, but we couldn't get the focus to work exactly like we wanted it to. So but this one again clamps. Now if you have a tree stand situation where you're using an arm, this one of course you can get it to clamp up there. And if you're self-filming, that's what's so great about it, is when you self-film, you don't have to mess with these controls up here. All you have to do is use the one remote control. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to a different camera setup, and I know this would be of interest to a lot of people because this is actually going to be a DSLR setup. But it's not your regular DSLR. So this is my son's setup too. He has an A6300, and while the cable combination that I used on the other one would work, we were not going to use that for this one because the multi-port works. So the A6300, I know the A6000, the A6300, and probably all the A7s, A6500 all have the multi-port USB, micro USB port. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn this one on. Let's see if the power, no, it doesn't work. Maybe if it timed out, but anyway, so I've got it turned on here using this remote, and I'm also using a Sony Power Zoom lens. This it won't work with your standard lens. You do have to have the Power Zoom lens, but as you watch the display, it will zoom in and zoom out with the remote control. So just imagine you're in a self-filming situation. You can zoom in, zoom out. You can record with the start-stop button. You can record. The on-off button does work when you have the master or the main auto off on. So turn it off and on. And we've also tried to use the autofocus before, the instant autofocus, and it doesn't seem to, we haven't got the combination just right, but I don't think it does work. So you'll have to try to figure out how that is done with, if you're going to use that combo. But when a DSLR is always difficult to self-film from, because you'll have to use one hand possibly to manually focus, another one to zoom, and another one to record, while at the same time trying to frame the shot with your pan and tilt arm. What's so great about this remote control, it's all right here in one location for you. So that's what's so great about this remote right here. So there you have it.